Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Remember that what you now have was once among the things you only hoped for. Is God willing to prevent evil, but not able? Then he is not omnipotent. Is he able, but not willing? Then he is malevolent. Is he both able and willing? Then whence cometh evil? Is he neither able nor willing? Then why call him God? Death, therefore, the most awful of evils, is nothing to us, seeing that, when we are, death is not come, and, when death is come, we are not. He who is not satisfied with a little is satisfied with nothing. Why should I fear death? If I am, then death is not. If death is, then I am not. Why should I fear that which can only exist when I do not? Long time men lay oppressed with slavish fear. Religious tyranny did domineer. At length the mighty one of Greece began to assent the liberty of man. Of all the means to ensure happiness throughout the whole life, by far the most important is the acquisition of friends. Death does not concern us, because as long as we exist, death is not here. And when it does come, we no longer exist. You don't develop courage by being happy in your relationships every day. You develop it by surviving difficult times and challenging adversity. The wealth required by nature is limited and is easy to procure, but the wealth required by vain ideals extends to infinity. It is folly for a man to pray to the gods for that which he has the power to obtain by himself. Not what we have, but what we enjoy, constitutes our abundance. I have never wished to cater to the crowd, for what I know they do not approve, and what they approve I do not know. It is not so much our friends' help that helps us as the confident knowledge that they will help us. The art of living well and the art of dying well are one. If the gods listened to the prayers of men, all humankind would quickly perish, since they constantly pray for many evils to befall one another. Never say that I have taken it, only that I have given it back. I was not, I was, I am not, I care not. Non fui, non sum, non curo. He who has peace of mind disturbs neither himself nor another. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Accustom yourself to the belief that death is of no concern to us, since all good and evil lie in sensation, and sensation ends with death. Therefore, the true belief that death is nothing to us makes a mortal life happy, not by adding to it an infinite time, but by taking away the desire for immortality. For there is no reason why the man who is thoroughly assured that there is nothing to fear in death should find anything to fear in life. So, too, he is foolish who says that he fears death, not because it will be painful when it comes, but because the anticipation of it is painful. For that which is no burden when it is present gives pain to no purpose when it is anticipated. Death, the most dreaded of evils, is therefore of no concern to us, for while we exist death is not present, and when death is present we no longer exist. It is therefore nothing either to the living or to the dead, since it is not present to the living, and the dead no longer are. Don't fear the gods. Don't worry about death. What is good is easy to get, and what is terrible is easy to endure. Empty is the argument of the philosopher, which does not relieve any human suffering. The noble man is chiefly concerned with wisdom and friendship. Of these, the former is a moral good, the latter an immoral one. Death is nothing to us. When we exist, death is not, and when death exists, we are not. All sensation and consciousness ends with death, and therefore in death there is neither pleasure nor pain. The fear of death arises from the belief that in death there is awareness. Nothing is sufficient for the person who finds sufficiency too little. The fool's life is empty of gratitude and full of fears. Its course lies wholly toward the future. We must, therefore, pursue the things that make for happiness, seeing that when happiness is present, we have everything, but when it is absent, we do everything to possess it. He who says either that the time for philosophy has not yet come or that it has passed is like someone who says that the time for happiness has not yet come or that it has passed. It is better for you to be free of fear lying upon a pallet than to have a golden couch and a rich table and be full of trouble. To eat and drink without a friend is to devour like the lion and the wolf. Be moderate in order to taste the joys of life in abundance. The greater the difficulty, the more the glory in surmounting it. All friendship is desirable in itself, though it starts from the need of help. He who least needs tomorrow will most gladly greet tomorrow. Let no one delay the study of philosophy while young, nor weary of it when old. The gods can either take away evil from the world and will not, or, being willing to do so, cannot, or they neither can nor will, or lastly, they are able and willing. If they have the will to remove evil and cannot, then they are not omnipotent. If they can but will not, then they are not benevolent. If they are neither able nor willing, they are neither omnipotent nor benevolent. Lastly, if they are both able and willing to annihilate evil, why does it exist? The time when you should most of all withdraw into yourself is when you are forced to be in a crowd. The purpose of all knowledge, metaphysical as well as scientific, is to achieve what Epicurus called ataraxia, freedom from irrational fears and anxieties of all sorts, in brief, peace of mind. If you wish to make Pythocles rich, do not add to his store of money, but subtract from his desires. Death is nothing to us, since when we are, death has not come, and when death has come, we are not. When, therefore, we maintain that pleasure is the end, we do not mean the pleasures of profligates and those that consist in sensuality, as is supposed by some who are either ignorant or disagree with us or do not understand, but freedom from pain in the body and from trouble in the mind. For it is not continuous drinkings and revellings, nor the satisfaction of lusts, nor the enjoyment of fish and other luxuries of the wealthy table, which produce a pleasant life, but sober reasoning, searching out the motives for all choice and avoidance, and banishing mere opinions, to which are due the greatest disturbance of the spirit. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Misfortune seldom intrudes upon the wise man. His greatest and highest interests are directed by reason throughout the course of life. I never desired to please the rabble. What pleased them, I did not learn, and what I knew was far removed from their understanding. Vain is the word of that philosopher which does not heal any suffering of man. Right understanding that death is nothing to us makes the mortality of life enjoyable, not because it adds to it an infinite span of time, but because it takes away the craving for immortality. For there is nothing terrible in life for the man who has truly comprehended that there is nothing terrible in not living. If thou wilt make a man happy, add not unto his riches, but take away from his desires. We should look for someone to eat and drink with before looking for something to eat and drink. The most important consequence of self-sufficiency is freedom. The wise man who has become accustomed to necessities knows better how to share with others than how to take from them, so great a treasure of self-sufficiency has he found. I was not, I have been, I am not, I do not mind. So death, the most terrifying of ills, is nothing to us, since so long as we exist, death is not with us. But when death comes, then we do not exist. It does not then concern either the living or the dead, since for the former it is not, and the latter are no more. If a little is not enough for you, nothing is. Nothing is enough to the man for whom enough is too little. If the gods listened to the prayers of men, all men would quickly have perished, for they are forever praying for evil against one another. Fools are tormented by the memory of former evils. Wise men have the delight of renewing in grateful remembrance the blessings of the past. We have the power both to obliterate our misfortunes in an almost perpetual forgetfulness and to summon up pleasant and agreeable memories of our successes. But when we fix our mental vision closely on the events of the past, then sorrow or gladness ensues according as these were evil or good. Of all the things which wisdom acquires to produce the blessedness of the complete life, for the greatest is the possession of friendship. It is not the pretended but the real pursuit of philosophy that is needed, for we do not need the appearance of good health, but to enjoy it in truth. Contented poverty is an honorable estate. What was most important in Epicurus' philosophy of nature was the overall conviction that our life on this earth comes with no strings attached, that there is no maker whose puppets we are, that there is no script for us to follow and be constrained by, that it is up to us to discover the real constraints which our own nature imposes on us. If you shape your life according to nature, you will never be poor. If according to people's opinions, you will never be rich. We must exercise ourselves in night things which bring happiness, since, if that be present, we have everything, and if that be absent, all our actions are directed toward attaining it. If a person fights the clear evidence of his senses, he will never be able to share in genuine tranquility. Men inflict injuries from hatred, jealousy, or contempt, but the wise man masters all these passions by means of reason. We need to set our affections on one good man and keep him constantly before our eyes, so that we may live as if he were watching us and do everything as if he saw what we were doing. Death is nothing to us, because a body that has been dispersed into elements experiences no sensations, and the absence of sensation is nothing to us. With the Epicureans, it was never science for the sake of science, but always science for the sake of human happiness. The conquest of fear, especially fear of unaccountable divine beings who meddle in nature at will, means a reduction in the sum total of human pain and suffering and opens the door to the calm acceptance of a new picture of the world. A world in which nature is autonomous and where there are ideal beings who never meddle. Therefore, foolish is the man who says that he fears death, not because it will cause pain when it arrives, but because anticipation of it is painful. Against other things it is possible to obtain security. But when it comes to death, we human beings all live in an unwalled city. When you die, your mind will be gone even faster than your body. It is not possible for a man to banish all fear of the essential questions of life unless he understands the nature of the universe and unless he banishes all consideration that the fables told about the universe could be true. Therefore, a man cannot enjoy full happiness, untroubled by turmoil, unless he acts to gain knowledge of the nature of things. We must free ourselves from the prison of everyday affairs and politics. I am grateful to blessed nature, because she made what is necessary easy to acquire and what is hard to acquire unnecessary. Meditate then on all these things, and on those things which are related to them, both day and night, and both alone and with like-minded companions. For if you will do this, you will never be disturbed while asleep or awake by imagined fears, but you will live like a god among men. For a man who lives among immortal blessings is in no respect like a moral being. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Remember that what you have was once among the things you only hoped for. If a person fights the clear evidence of his senses, he will never be able to share in genuine tranquility. 41. In other words, a person who doubts his senses will either lose contact with the reality of the surrounding world, like the skeptics, and become psychologically isolated and insecure, or he will fall prey, as do the religionists, to theological explanations which do not allay anxiety but foment it. two of Epicurus's early influences, Democritus and Pyrrho, had actually journeyed all the way to what is now India, where they had encountered Buddhism in the schools of the Gymnosophists. The man who says that all events are necessitated has no ground for criticizing the man who says that not all events are necessitated. For according to him, this is itself a necessitated event. How unhappy are the lives of men! How purblind their hearts!